Once upon a time, there lived a village cook named IAB Basir, known in the village simply as IAB Basir, who owned a local diner where all the men enjoyed eating. Basir's restaurant was always filled with village men who believed she cooked the best meals. People would often fight among themselves and even go as far as washing their own plates, just to get a taste of Yasir's cooking. Because of Yasir's food, many men began to reject the meals prepared by their wives, comparing them to Yasir's. This angered the women of the village, whose husbands stopped eating their meals. One day, the disgruntled women gathered, as they had all had enough of what was happening. They discussed what to do about IAB Basir, as they all wanted their husbands to start eating their meals again. One of the women, named Aduni, suggested that instead of plotting against IAB Basir, everything should be done to find out how she cooked her meals. Another woman named Ola objected, saying that instead they should ensure Yasir's restaurant is shut down, because as long as the restaurant was still in the village, their husbands would never eat their meals. The entire room was now filled with murmurs, as the women found it hard to agree on what to do about IAB Basir. But all their husbands were currently at Yasir's restaurant, eating and praising her delicious meals. Determined to find a solution, Aduni proposed sending a secret spy to work for IAB Basir, as she had heard that she was currently looking for a dishwasher, since her last dishwasher mysteriously disappeared. The women all pondered whom to send as a spy, as IAB Basir knew them all and wouldn't hire any of them at her restaurant. One of the women then stepped forward and suggested that her niece, who had just moved to their village, would be the best spy, as nobody knew who she was. All the women cheered as they celebrated their clever plan to uncover IAB Basir's cooking secrets. The next day, the woman's niece named Help discreetly applied for the position of dishwasher at Yasir's restaurant. Impressed by Help's humility, IAB Basir hired her without hesitation. But Help noticed something strange about IAB Basir, who instructed her to always go into the kitchen with her back turned. IAB Basir warned Help never to enter her kitchen facing forward, as she would regret ever disobeying her orders. Despite being skeptical about working for IAB Basir, Help decided to take on the job of dishwasher. She spent the whole day washing dishes and left the restaurant late at night when all the customers were gone. After her first day of work at Yasir's restaurant, Help returned home exhausted. Her aunt, curious about her day, asked, but Help realized she couldn't remember everything that happened at the restaurant. This was strange because Help didn't forget things easily. The next day, Help came to the restaurant determined to find out Yasir's secret recipe. She spied on Yasir while she cooked, noting down all the ingredients used. But when she came home in the evening, she couldn't remember everything that happened at the restaurant. Her aunt was so angry, accusing Help of siding with Yasir and pretending not to remember anything that happened at the restaurant. Help tried to explain that she was also shocked by what happened, but her aunt found it hard to believe. One afternoon, a woman named Mama Yu came to the restaurant, furious. Her husband had informed her that he intended to marry IAB Basir, and Mama Oho came to the restaurant to confront Yasir, unaware that she was not alone. Several other women also came to the restaurant, accusing IAB Basir of having their husbands. The whole restaurant was now in chaos as the women confronted Yasir about the alleged affair with their husbands. However, IAB Basir denied all accusations, explaining that she had no interest in marrying other women's husbands. Aduni, disregarding the noise, quietly observed IAB Basir. She noticed that she seemed unusually calm, almost as if she knew something that the others didn't. Aduni decided to seize the opportunity to get to the bottom of what was happening. She watched as IAB Basir left the kitchen and stealthily sneaked into Yasir's kitchen. But instead of obeying as IAB Basir commanded, going into the kitchen with her back turned, Help entered the kitchen facing forward. She noticed something she had never seen in the kitchen before. Help noticed that the entire kitchen had bloodstains and wondered where the blood could be coming from. Yasir immediately entered the kitchen and pulled out a blood-stained cloth from under her dress. IAB Basir dipped the blood-stained cloth into her pot of food and began stirring continuously. After a few minutes, she removed the cloth, and Ayam opened her mouth in shock because she never knew that Yasir cooked her food with the blood from her menstrual cycle. Ayam pretended not to notice what was happening and realized that all along, Yasir had been using dark forces to make her forget everything that ever happened in her kitchen. Whenever Help went into the kitchen with her back turned, she lost all her memory of the things that happened in the kitchen due to Yasir's evil spell. However, the spell was immediately broken when Help violated Yasir's rule and entered the kitchen facing forward. Now she could remember everything she saw, and Help was greatly afraid of what would happen if IAB Basir found out what she had done in the kitchen. At that moment, could hardly wait to get away from work to tell her aunt everything she had seen in Yasir's kitchen. As night fell, Arm's heart began to race so fast that she feared what would happen if IAB Basir realized she knew the secret of her delicious meals. After washing all the dishes, Ayam decided to go home when suddenly she heard a loud and sinister laugh behind her. It was IAB Basira, who blew a powdery substance in Ayam's face. A few hours later, Ayam woke up in a strange room. She screamed for help and heard a faint voice of a young woman behind her in the room, asking if she was the new dishwasher. Answered with a yes, and the woman told her that she was the former dishwasher who had been locked up for months. Felt a cold shiver run down her spine and asked the woman why she was locked up. The young woman revealed to her that she had violated Yasir's only rule and seen the secret of her delicious meals. She told that Yasir had locked her in the room and fed her with an enchanted meal once a day, which always made her forget what she saw. But when she noticed what the meals were doing to her, she stopped eating them, secretly disposing of them to avoid suspicion from Yasir, who believed that her memory had been completely erased. Determined to break free, Ayom and the young woman named Amina devised a plan. They waited for the right moment when Yasir was not in the house, and Ayom and Amina pushed hard against the door, but noticed that they began to feel weak. Yasir had anticipated this and surrounded her house with a very powerful spell to prevent anyone from escaping. The more they tried to approach the door, the weaker they became, so Yomid and Amina realized that they needed a different approach to break the spell. Ayom immediately remembered the last words her late father said to her. He said that if she was in trouble, she should call his name 3 times and he would come to save her. So called her late father's name 3 times, and suddenly she felt an energy flowing through her body as she approached the door again. This time, the resistance of the potion was significantly reduced, allowing her to open the door without giving in. Helped Amina as they escaped into the night. They arrived at Am's aunt's house, and Am shared the entire story with her, revealing Yasir's evil practices. The next morning, Am's aunt and the women of the village decided to confront Yasir and put an end to her evil practices. Sensing that her secret had been exposed, Yasir attempted to flee the village, but was apprehended by the angry women demanding justice for the harm she had caused to the entire community. IAB Basir, cornered and powerless, confessed her evil deeds. She revealed that she had used her menstrual blood to enchant her food, making it irresistible to the men of the village. She also admitted to imprisoning those who discovered her secret to ensure they remained under her control. The women brought the matter before the village elders, who condemned IAB Basir for her wicked deeds. They asked why she had done it, and IAB Basir revealed that since the death of her husband many years ago, she had envied all the happily married women and couldn't stand seeing them happy. So she decided to use her food to disrupt the peace in the happy families. Everyone was shocked as the elders banished IAB Basir from the village forever. With Yasir gone, the women of the village returned to their rightful places in their husbands' lives, and the bonds of family and community grew stronger as everyone realized the importance of love, trust, and loyalty. The lesson to learn from this story is that greed can lead one to do so much evil. We should learn to always be content with what we have and not get involved in evil practices, as it always backfires. Always be grateful for the people God places in your life, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. See you in our next story. Goodbye.